What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about AMC, GME, as well as the overall broader market. So today, AMC was down for 2.74% for the day. It had a high of $12.73. The average volume on AMC is around 52.39 million, but today's volume was around 26.63 million. So the volume was pretty low. A lot of investors were not interested in buying the stock because there was an overall broader market sell-off that was happening just because of the inflation number that came 8.6%, which was a slight bit higher than what was expected. That's what created a lot of fear in the overall broader market. But the most important thing and the most best thing for the apes were that the AMC and GME both were holding pretty well. GME ended up in a green, which is very surprising. A lot of good blue chip stocks were having a lot of sell off. GME as well as AME holded very well. In the day like this, we experience usually a 10 to 12% of a sell off, but nothing happened today. Now, right after the market closed, Tesla came out and they announced they're going to do a 3:1 stock split, which actually saved the overall broader market going towards a little bit more downtrend. Now, let's come over to the SPY. Now, the SPY is towards the downside, but it hasn't broken those old previous bottoms, which would be an indicator towards a further downside. Now, after the Tesla announcement of the stock split, Tesla is a part of S&P 500. That's what saved the market currently, but we never know. We might keep experiencing a further downtrend in the overall broader market next week as well. But I personally think the Tesla has somehow saved the market for the meanwhile. Now we have the FOMC meeting next week where the Fed is going to decide how much of an interest rate hike they're going to do. Is it going to be 50 basis point or going to be a 75 basis point? Now the SPY was down for 2.90%. The kind of movement that is coming in the SPY, that's a lot of momentum coming into the SPY. Now the kind of drop that we had in the morning just after the inflation data was released, it has created a slight bit of gap in the charts of the SPY, which means that gap is going to be covered very soon. But we might keep on experiencing some sort of a downtrend. Now the FOMC meeting is the big hurdle for us for the next week. Once we get through it, we might see some relief in the market. Now, when we talk in terms of the VIX, shot up 6.36% for the end of the day, but it was way too much higher in the morning. It had a high of $29.63. So you can imagine the kind of volatility that came in the VIX, and now it has shot back down, which is a good indication for the overall broader market. You never know what's going to happen next week in the FOMC meeting, but the kind of momentum that I'm seeing in the VIX right now, we might be going down on VIX, which means it's a pretty bullish sentiment for the overall broader market. Though we don't have any good sentiments coming towards the market, the oil prices are still pretty high, inflation is super high, but we might get some sort of a relief. We were already in an oversold state from last 7 to 8 weeks. Finally, we had some sort of a relief to the upside, but then all those gains are almost going towards the downside from here onwards. Now let's come over to the options flow for the AMC. Now I've increased the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now these whales are buying this suspicious 85 $90 put option with it's a leap, and it seems to be a little bit suspicious because these individuals are betting a huge amount of money to the downside and they're buying way too much deep in the money put options, and these are all leap options that these individuals are buying, and it seems to be like the market maker is playing some game over here just because putting up these synthetic puts in order to suppress the price of AMC. Now, as we know, the kind of sell off that we had today in the market, AMC and GME would have affected quite a lot as compared to what it did to the stocks like big blue chip stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Tesla were down at least 4 to 5%, and AMC was down for just 2.66%. GME was in the green. So it indicates that there is still quite a lot of fear in the market maker in order to play any kind of a game towards AMC and GME. Now let's bring down the premium and see what exactly the mini whales and the retail are doing. Majority of them are again onto the downside. These $90 put option is very suspicious, and that is way too much deep in the money. It's pretty suspicious when the stock price is $12.44 at the market close, and these individuals are buying $90 put option. That is way too much deep in the money put option, and they are all betting that the stock will keep going down from here onwards. But there were these call buying that was happening right at the market close, and these individuals are expecting some sort of upward momentum coming into AMC. Now the overall broader market is going to play a pretty significant role in both AMC as well as GME. If we keep going down in the overall broader market from here onwards, so does the AMC and GME, but it's going to be a pretty good buying opportunity, just in my personal opinion. This is not a financial advice. The rest, there was nothing majorly suspicious coming out of the options flow for the AMC. Now let's come over to the options flow for the GME. Now increase the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now these whales were buying multi-million dollar bets to the upside in GME, and these are again 6 days expiration, which indicates these individuals are expecting some sort of a upward momentum coming into the GameStop. Now when I bring down the premium and see what exactly the mini whales and the retail are doing, again majority of them are on to the upside and they are all betting that the GME will keep going up from here onwards. Now again in the options flow for GME, we are going to see these kind of suspicious put options that are coming in that are way too much deep in the money. Now the current price of GME is around $129.17, and these individuals are buying $780 put option, which makes no sense. And these are leap options that these individuals are buying. That is way too much deep in the money. These market makers are playing some sort of a game to the downside with GameStop, but we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out. And I can tell you for sure there are a lot of trades are coming from the floor. These individuals are New York Stock Exchange floor traders, and they are betting to the upside on the GameStop, and they are betting a huge amount of money into that. They're betting millions of dollars in betting that the GameStop is going to keep going up from here onwards. The rest, there was nothing majorly suspicious coming out of the options flow for the GameStop. Now let's come over to the options flow for the SPY. Now I've increased the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now all the whales were on to the downside and they're betting a huge amount of money over here. 22.1 million, 13.3 million, 30.2 million, and they're buying 18,000 contract, and these are a little bit out of the money put options. Now if we go to these price, now 385 we have touched down in the past, but not 370. If we go down to 370, we are going down a little bit more further. Now when I bring down the premium and see what exactly the mini whales are doing, now there was this suspicious bet came right before the market closed. This individual is buying 134,500 contracts and he's paying $2.82 million for it. This is a out of money put option that's going to expire in 6 days. This individual is kind of betting there is a market crash that is going to happen in the next week, but you never know. If Jerome Powell next week increases the interest rate to 75 basis point, this thing can really take off. But $345, that's way too much out of the money put option this individual buying. But you never know, it can happen. Next week is a big week because FOMC is going to decide how much is the interest rate hike they're going to do. But I think they're going to keep up with the 50 basis point, but you never know, they might have a change of mind after looking at the inflation data today. And now these 30,000 contract this individual was buying over here, $350 put option that's going to expire in 19 days, $3.33 million he's betting on it. And again, we haven't reached these low levels in last 2 years. That's quite a bit of gamble these individuals are doing over here, but they might have some sort of information on them. And there were quite a bit of put option that was coming in today, and they are basically buying a little bit out of the money put option that indicates they are still betting that the SPY is going to keep going down from here onwards. Now I personally believe as well that we might keep going down from here onwards till the FOMC meeting, and then we might see some sort of a relief. Right now market is in a very unpredictable zone. It's very hard to predict which side the market is going to go from here onwards. Now when I bring down the premium a little bit more further and see what exactly the retail is doing now, some of them were buying this call option today and they were betting that the SPY might go up from here onwards because we have a gap in the chart of the SPY where you never know, we might keep going down a little bit more further and then we get a rapid response back towards the upside. Now let's have a look at the chart of the QQQ. That's the Nasdaq. Now we have this gap to be filled in between over here, that is around $359.79. Now there is a huge gap in between. If the market maker need to cover up these gap, they need to increase the prices way too much higher, and you never know how long will it take. Sometimes these gap might get filled in 5 years or 4 years, sometimes they get filled straight away, but you never know. You have to be very careful, but there are some sign towards the upside. Now there was this gap that came in today which will be definitely filled because the market maker don't want to take the market down a little bit more further with this kind of a huge gap in between in Nasdaq. So we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out in the next week. So thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe my channel, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Cheers.